Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about how many chapters are there in social science, in history, political science, economics, business studies. Totally, there are 39 chapters in the SSLC syllabus. Out of 39, history has 10 chapters, political science 5, sociology 4, geography 12, economics 4, business studies 4. Totally there are 39 chapters in social science. Among those first part of social science, history, today we are going to discuss about the first chapter of history part. The first chapter is Advent of Europeans to India. What do you mean by Advent? Advent is nothing but arrival. The Europeans came to India. Why? Why the Europeans came to India? Let us study now why these Europeans came to India, how did they settle here, how they established their trade centers, how the trade carried out, through which place the trade carried out. This is all everything today we are going to discuss. First of all, why the Europeans came to India? On those days, India was famous for spicy items. Spicy items like cardamom, ginger and cinnamon. These are the famous spicy items of India. When India was famous for such type of spicy items, the Europeans, when they visited India, they came to know the wealth of India. They decided, suppose if we have taken these all spicy items, we can establish a good trade link with India and we can earn money. That was their intention. So among those, Constantinople was the central place of trade. The Europeans came to India. They took all spicy items. These spicy items carried through sea route and land route. And finally, these all spicy items were stored or stocked in place of Constantinople. After that, these spicy items were distributed to the European countries. Because of this reason, this Constantinople is known as a gateway of European trade. On those days, the Europe countries, Dutch, Portuguese, these all, they established a trade link with India. But the main intention of this trade link was to earn benefit. Because of this reason, the competition began between India and Europe countries. Because of this reason, this is Constantinople. From here, India, these all spicy items carried through sea routes and land routes. This Constantinople was the center place for trade. Because of this reason, this is known as a gateway of European trade. Each and everything spicy items were carried through Constantinople. In the initial stage, the Arabs had monopoly on Asian continent, as well as the Italy merchants had monopoly over European trade, Europe. So, thus they maintained a monopoly on, Arabs maintained a monopoly on Asian continent and Italy merchants had monopoly on Europe. Thus, the trade carried. Now, the fall of Constantinople. How the Constantinople fell? What happened? This Constantinople was the central place for trade. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured this Constantinople. When the Ottoman Turk captured this Constantinople fell into the hands of Ottoman Turk. Then on, all the trade routes were closed. These Ottoman Turks levied heavy taxes on goods and services, on these spicy items. Because of this reason, the European navigators started to search new sea routes and land routes to have a trade with India. On those days, due to the fall of Constantinople, the Europeans invented gunpowder, compass and astrolabe. With the help of these all gunpowder, astrolabe and compass, the Europe countries started to search new sea routes and land routes. There was a competition among all the European countries to establish supremacy. To establish a supremacy, these Europe countries started to compete each other. That competition made to search new sea routes and land routes. Then on, the famous navigator of Portuguese, Vasco da Gama, he started to search new sea routes. So, Vasco da Gama, the famous navigator of Portuguese, he left from Lisbon and he reached to Kapadu near Calicut in 1498 in the month of May. When he came to India, when he reached to Kapadu near Calicut in 1498 in the month of May, then onwards the trade links increased between India and Europe countries. Thus once again the trade was carried in a successful manner by Europeans. So the first that credit goes to Vasco da Gama. He is the one who has invented new sea routes to India. That is Vasco da Gama in 1498. Among these all, let us study now. In this Europe continent, this competition began among all the countries, among few countries of Europe continent. So among those which are the trade companies established by those countries, so those one by one we have to learn it now. So among those first, Portuguese. Portuguese were the first to arrive to India. These were the first. Portuguese were the first to arrive to India. They were also the last to leave India. Portuguese were the first to arrive to India, and these were the last to leave India. These Portuguese. The Portuguese famous navigators like Francisco de Almeida. Francisco de Almeida, the viceroy of Portuguese, he implemented the blue water policy. Francisco de Almeida, why he implemented blue water policy? Because he wanted to establish a supremacy over on sea rather than land. Because he wanted to have control over on entire trade. So that is why he implemented blue water policy. After Francisco de Almeida, Alfonso de Albuquerque, he is considered the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India. Francisco de Almeida, after Vasco da Gama, he came to power. He brought many changes in India. After Francisco de Almeida, Alfonso de Albuquerque came to India, and he is considered the real founder of Portuguese in India. He waged a war against the Sultan of Vijaypur in 1510 and won Goa. Alfonso de Albuquerque came to power after Francisco de Almeida, and he waged a war against the Sultan of Vijaypur. He captured Goa in 1510, and he made that Goa as the administrative block. Through Goa, the administration of Portuguese carried out. After next trade company is Dutch. They came from Holland. These Dutch people, they came from Holland. They established United East India Company in 1602. In 1602, these Dutch people established United East India Company. What was the main aim of establishing this East India Company? The main aim was doing business with Eastern countries was the main aim of these Dutch people. They entered countries like India, Java, Sumatra. They established warehouses in Surat, Broch, Cambay, Cochin. In these places, they established their warehouses and they broke the monopoly of Portuguese. Before, the Portuguese had monopoly. When Dutch people came to India, these Dutch people broke the monopoly of Portuguese. After this, the trade companies, Europe trade companies, next comes English. Among these all, the company of English was dominant. These English people in 1600, on December 31st, East India Company was established. In this, Queen Elizabeth issued a royal charter authorizing East India Company to trade in India. Queen Elizabeth sought the help of Indian ruler to have trade with India. This company started a business finally in 1613. They got permission in 1600 and they started a business in 1613. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir issued the royal permission to have trade with India. He gave permission to English people to establish a trade with India. So that is why the first factory was established at Surat. After this, Sir Thomas Roy arrived at the court of Jahangir as the royal ambassador from the court of James I. As a royal ambassador, Sir Thomas Roy came to the court of Jahangir. He was appointed as ambassador. English established factories at Agra, Ahmedabad and Broch. In these places, the English established their factories. In 1639, English took Madras from the king of Chandragiri and established a strong fort named at Saint George Fort. They established Saint George Fort. Thus, the British people, day by day, they started to remain as dominant in India. Charles II, the Prince of England, he gave Bombay as annual rent of 10,000 pounds to East India Company. Charles II gave Bombay as a rent for 10,000 pounds to East India Company. In 1690, the English purchased Sutanauti, Kalikata, Govindapura on the bank of the river. Taking these all places, the English purchased these all places. Through this, they started to establish their footholds. By 17th century, English had established Bombay, Madras and Calcutta. These Bombay, Madras and Calcutta became the presidencies of the English. Means that is center of their presidencies. English made Calcutta as their capital place. They implemented their own civil and criminal laws in Calcutta. Thus, Portuguese, Dutch, English, and next comes French. French East India Company was established in 1664. The first factory was established in Surat in 1668. The factories in Machilipattanam, Chandranagar, Mahe, Karaikal, in these all other places also, the factory of French people was established. In 1674, the French took Valikadapuram and developed as their major trade center. Valikandapuram became the trade center of French people in 1674. That is known as Pondicherry. This Valikandapuram is known as Pondicherry. During the rule of Dupleix, he became the Governor General of French, and he had a high ambition which led to Carnatic Wars. Because of the high ambition of Dupleix, the Carnatic Wars led. Let us study now how the competition began between English and French. Now, the competition between English and French. English and French. How the competition began between English and French. Both English and French, they wanted to remain as dominant in India. Because of this reason, there was a tough competition between English and French. So everyone wanted to remain dominant. Because of this reason, both English and French, they started to compete each other. This competition resulted in Carnatic Wars. Let us study now why these Carnatic Wars began and what were the main causes for these Carnatic Wars. Among those, first one is First Carnatic War. First Carnatic War. Before going to start this Carnatic War, you also note down the name of the parties who took participation in this Carnatic War, who were French side and who supported to British. So that we have to learn. Okay. Whenever you are learning wars, you should keep in your mind three things. First is, what are the causes of the war, course of the war, and finally results of the war. In annual examination, there will be a question for 1 mark or 2 mark. The question will be on treaties, or what was the main reason of First Carnatic War, or what was the treaty of First Carnatic War. Such type of question is expected. Okay. So first of all, we have to list it out, the name of the parties who took participation in First Carnatic War. French, English. French side, Dupleix, and Law Bourdonnais. Law Bourdonnais. English side, Anwaruddin. First Carnatic War began between the French and English. French was led by Dupleix and Law Bourdonnais. English side, the English saw the help of Anwaruddin. So this Carnatic War began between French and English. Now, what was the main cause of this First Carnatic War? Main cause. On the advice of Dupleix, Law Bourdonnais attacked Madras. This was the main cause of First Carnatic War. So, what was the main cause? Law Bourdonnais, on the request of Dupleix, Law Bourdonnais captured the place of Madras. Madras was under the control of English. When the French captured Madras, the English decided to wage war against French. Thus, the First Carnatic War began between French and English. Okay. Now, how this war carried out? Now, the causes of First Carnatic War. The cause was, on the request of Dupleix, Law Bourdonnais captured the place of Madras. This was the main cause. Now we are going to discuss about the course of war. The course of war. The British, when Law Bourdonnais captured the place of Madras, the British took the help of Nawab Anwaruddin. Nawab Anwaruddin, with a huge army, he came to fight against Law Bourdonnais. Finally, in this war, Lord Bourdonnais took money from the English and returned Madras. When Dupleix came to know this, Dupleix enraged for this incident and he wanted to capture that Madras place, but he was failed. Now, the result of this war. the result of First Carnatic War. This First Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Aix-la-Chapelle. Finally, this war, First Carnatic War, ended with the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Once again, I will repeat the main cause of First Carnatic War. On the advice of Dupleix, Lord Bourdonnais captured the place of Madras. This was the main cause. And how this war continued? This war continued. The English took the help of Nawab Anwaruddin, but he was failed to face Lord Bourdonnais. Because of this reason, Lord Bourdonnais took money from English people and returned to Madras. When Dupleix came to know this, Dupleix enraged for this incident. Because of this reason, Dupleix wanted to capture that Madras, but Dupleix failed in this. Finally, this war ended with the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. So these are the causes, course and results of First Carnatic War. Now we are going to discuss about the Second Carnatic War. Why the Second Carnatic War began between French and English? What was the main cause for this Second Carnatic War? Second Carnatic War. It began between French and English. French and English. French side, Salbat, Bussy and Chanda Sahib. And British side, Robert Clive and Muhammad Ali. French sought the help of Salbat, and the British officer French officer Bussy and Chanda Sahib were one side, and English took the help of Muhammad Ali. Robert Clive led this war. Let us study now what was the main cause of this Second Carnatic War. Cause. The main cause was French made Salbat Jung as the Nizam of Hyderabad. When French made Salbat Jung as the Nizam of Hyderabad, Bussy was stationed in Hyderabad by the French. Chanda Sahib was the Nawab of Carnatic with the help of French. Because of these all incidents made to involve in war of Second Carnatic. How this war continued? That is course of the war. This war continued. Robert Clive attacked Arcot and defeated Chanda Sahib. Chanda Sahib was imprisoned and killed. Robert Clive attacked on Chanda Sahib. Chanda Sahib was under the control of Robert Clive. When he was attacked on Chanda Sahib was imprisoned and killed. In place of Chanda Sahib, the Britishers, the Governor General Robert Clive, appointed Muhammad Ali in place of Chanda Sahib. Thus the war continued. As the Nawab of Carnatic, Muhammad Ali was appointed. This war ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. Finally, this second Carnatic war ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. Once again, French decided to call Dupleix. This war brought laurels to English. French suffered a political setback. In this war, the French suffered political setback. These French that decided to call back Dupleix. Finally, this war ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. Thus, the Second Carnatic War ended. Once again, French sought the help of Salbat and Chanda Sahib. Bussy was the French commander, and English led by Robert Clive and Muhammad Ali. Robert Clive attacked on Chanda Sahib. Chanda Sahib was imprisoned and killed. In place of Chanda Sahib, the Britishers appointed Muhammad Ali. Finally, this war ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. Thus, the Second Carnatic War ended. Now, Third Carnatic War. Third Carnatic War. French was led by Count de Lally and Bussy. And English was led by Sir Eyre Coote. Sir Eyre Coote. Sir Eyre Coote. What was the main cause of this Third Carnatic War? The main cause of Third Carnatic War was Count de Lally attempted to besiege Wandiwash in 1760. In 1760, Count de Lally wanted to besiege Wandiwash. So this was the main cause. Because of this reason, this Third Carnatic War began. How this war continued? In a decisive battle, Sir Eyre Coote of English defeated the French and imprisoned Bussy. At this time, Count de Lally escaped from the battlefield and he hid in Pondicherry. Count de Lally escaped from the battlefield and he hides in Pondicherry. Sir Eyre Coote attacked and Lally had to surrender in 1764. This is the course of war. Now, what are the results of this war? French had to lose all. The Treaty of Paris was signed between French and English in 1763. the Treaty of Paris was signed. Pondicherry was returned to French. English, by defeating all their rivals, consolidated their power in southern part of India. Thus, the Third Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Paris. This is what we studied about how these Carnatic wars began between French and English. After each Carnatic war, the Britishers remained as dominant. They started to establish their supremacy over on the southern part of India. After the end of these all Carnatic wars, how the British established their supremacy over entire part of India, that we should learn. Especially these British people established supremacy over on southern part of India. Now, let us study now the British rule in India. How these British people continued their rule in India. That is the British rule in India. Bengal was the province had achieved tremendous growth during the time of British rule. The company got immense profit in Bengal. The dastaks were issued by the Mughal ruler for Shia. Dastak means dastak, it is nothing but the license which is issued to have trade, that is known as dastak. These dastaks were issued by the Mughal ruler Farooq Shia. These dastaks were misused. Because of this reason, it resulted in huge loss. Nawabs like Murshid Ali Khan to Ali Wardi Khan opposed it. Because of this reason, this resulted in crucial wars like Plassey and Buxar. Because of the misuse of these dastaks, the wars started in the battle of Plassey and in place of Buxar. How these wars began? What was the cause of these wars, that we should learn. Among these, first, the battle of Plassey. The battle of Plassey. This took in 1757. The battle of Plassey. Ali Wardi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, died in 1756. Shiraj ud Daul came to power in place of Buxar. Shiraj ud Daul and the British Robert Clive became the enemies each other. So what were the main reasons for the battle of Plassey? Reasons. One is misuse of dastaks. It was the first cause. Misuse of dastak was the first cause. Black room tragedy was the second cause. Means Shiraj ud Daul conquered Fort William and he imprisoned 146 Englishmen in a small room in the fort, of which 123 Englishmen died. This is known as Black Room Tragedy. This was the second cause. And third cause is mending of the fort without permission. Mending of the fort without permission. The British captured the fort of Calcutta and placed cannon in them Shiraj-ud-Daula angered because of this reason. So this was the third cause. First cause is misuse of dastards. Second cause is mending of the fort without permission. And third cause is black room tragedy. These were the three causes of the battle of Plassey. And how this war continued, the outcome of this war. Outcome. This war brought out of the there was a lack of unity among the Indians and the greedy of Indian businessmen. And second one is the company gained exclusive rights to do the business in place of Bengal. And Mir Jafar had to pay rupees 17 Konnur and 70 lakh to the British as a relief to Shiraj-ud-Daula's attack in the fort of William. So these were the outcomes of the battle of Plassey. This war brought out of immorality, lack of unity among the Indians and the greedy of Indian businessmen. And second one is Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. And third one is the company gained exclusive rights to do the business in place of Bengal. And fourth one is Mir Jafar had to pay rupees 17 Konnur and 70 lakh to the British as a relief to Shiraj-ud-Daula's attack on the Fort William. These were the four outcomes of the battle of Plassey. In a nutshell, Mir Jafar became continuous victim. The treasury went bankruptcy due to the greedy nature. The greediness of the company and its officials were never satisfied. The British protected Mir Jafar and brought his nephew Mir Qasim in place of Mir Jafar. Mir Qasim was brought. So this is what we studied about the battle of Plassey. Reasons and outcomes. Thus the British people established their supremacy after each war and they remained dominant. After this, how the battle Buxar began, what were the main causes of the battle of Buxar? Battle of Buxar. Mir Qasim was an efficient one who was brought in place of Mir Jafar. He remained loyal to the company and paid 2 lakh pounds. Shortly after some days, Mir Qasim declared himself as an independent ruler. Mir Qasim was not ready to remain as a puppet in the hands of the British people. When Mir Qasim wanted to remain as an independent ruler, once again the British people brought back this Mir Jafar in place of Mir Qasim. Thus, many changes took place. Then they brought back Mir Jafar again. Then on Mir Qasim, Shah Alam II and Shujud-Daula. These all three entered into the agreement. Mir Qasim, Shah Alam II and Shujud-Daula formed a triple alliance. One side this triple alliance, another one side British. Thus The war began in place of Buxar. This is known as the Battle of Buxar. How this war began, what were the main causes of this war, that will be continued next.